All right. So
Morning.
uh,
Morning.
yeah, morning everyone.
Guys, not ready to wake up yet, so.
Huh?
Oh, and
You guys
Chilu,
not ready to
Chilu,
wake up yet.
Let me
Chilu.
not wake up yet.
Like you're not ready to wake up yet.
More go beach. You know, see Andrew open up back.
And the first thing I have to go beach. You like beach?
Yeah, me like water. Love water.
Okay. I'm not really share that sentiment, though, but
Or I like
Um,
water.
NASA, NASA. Maybe I have some trauma from the ancestors pass on to me. Maybe.
Uh,
All right. So how is everyone doing?
you go there now, man. Now, no COVID yet.
Mm-hmm.
No intend to get it. But
Okay.
for the time being, me alright. Now I feel no pain. Me get up and skip this morning and do some gardening and things.
All right, that's good. That's good. That's good.
Mm.
Tina, how about you? How was your week been?
Um, it was alright. The week kind of go fast for me.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like I thought at one point on Thursday, I thought it was Friday, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it kind of go by fast for me. And then we kind of get stressed out because I did open myself up to making masks. A couple of people wanted masks, and then it kind of throw off the week. I did want something else.
Mm-hmm.
But
What kind of mask?
like face mask, regular face mask.
A big business, you know.
Oh, you make mask. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So when COVID did come down,
Mm.
I started making, because I
Mm.
mean I have a sewing machine. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
So it did slow down, and then it kind of there are people who know, and then will ask me to make a couple masks. So you make some, and then somebody else, yeah, and them say them want, and then it just.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened a lot with last week. But may I wait for vaccine, and then
So
me
get it
did
already.
no, I'm gonna get it yet. Um,
Which one? Which one you get?
me in a business, me just
AstraZeneca.
want me just want
That one you for business one. Some of them are cause some serious side effects,
yeah,
blood
but
clots and
with the name foolishness anyway. So not really matter.
mm,
I don't think me I
So
take none.
you not take none.
No.
Well, to each his own. Me want it.
Mm.
Uh
um
but I'm alright. I'm alright. You have waves of like, you feel like
things
you,
that
you
happen.
no, sometimes you just feel like you're in limbo, but I'm alright. I'm alright.
All right. I
Give
know the
time.
mask. Yeah, I know the mask business is a big business now for textiles people. A lot of them are capitalized on it. You know Kitty, right? Kitana.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. She pair everything she make now.
With a
Seemingly she
mask.
pair with a mask. A big business now. But
But
Yeah.
if me could have, from the beginning, if me could have make mask, would have me go get tonight too.
So when we did start, um, it like a lot of people did want it. And then what happened to me is because I'm in Portmore, it did lockdown. Remember that lockdown with St. Catherine?
mm-hmm.
And I had so many masks to give to people, and I couldn't get out of Portmore. And that's when it did dip for me, because if you can't get it to people when they want it, it's like they're gonna move on to somebody else. And
mm-hmm.
it did make me very frustrated, because I say, How can this man just lock down one place and that is just it?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it goes. Yeah, it is big business, but at first me never want to make no mask. I say everybody I got just stress me out about mask. I mean want to make no
But
mask.
but how much you sell one for?
I sell one for $450.
Then if how much of them you think you can sell a week?
Um, so I can make, if it's only mask I'm doing, I can make like 30 to 20 a day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you multiply that by 5,
Mm-hmm.
that's like 60 is that? No. 20
5
times
to
5.
10, 100.
I can make
100.
100 mask.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
Mm.
450 times 100
That's
is
45 to 45.
right.
Um, so so do they sell quick enough? Feel like what? I mean, do you
That's
feel
what
the
I was
need?
saying. That's what I was saying. Like in the beginning, it
Uh-huh.
was moving. Like
Yeah, but
you,
it's slow
you
down now.
like my hands would hurt me because you know
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the way I make it is like you turn it inside out and you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I make it with the thing around the head.
Mm-hmm.
But um, as I said, you have to give up one thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
have to
Yeah.
totally stop everything you're doing and focus on mask for it to be like make sense.
So what if you
Mm-hmm.
were to employ an additional person? You wouldn't have machine
I only
space.
have I only have one machine.
Yeah.
I
But
have
I shall
another
say,
non-industrial machine, but yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't employ somebody else to make mask because right now people have kind of gotten people into them rhythm. So it's not
uh-huh.
like in the beginning when people are like they don't have no mask at all, they need a
Yeah,
mask.
yeah, and the market saturated because you have so
Right,
many people who are met mass. So
But what happened to
even
long term though?
people
What
who
happened to
don't know
long
what
term?
they're doing.
well the all right, so recently I said, let me probably make a listing on my website
Mm-hmm.
um to just have a place where people, if people need masks, they can, there's a direct link or to know that I make masks, because I wasn't putting it out on heavy manners that I was making masks. I still don't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think long term, even after COVID, there's going to be a thing where people
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking.
will want to wear mask.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's a
and
fashion statement, no?
Right, so
yeah,
you can
yeah,
you can make prints on them and all of that, so it become an art thing too.
yeah. I had thought about that, but one of the things also that you have to be careful with is like is it working as well? So like what
Yeah.
I do with the ones I do now is I put twill on the outside and African fabric on the inside,
But
because
twill a little bit heavy.
that's why I put the African cotton on the inside. And
Mm-hmm.
but people because the twill I have is straight black, so people were saying they just want a straight black. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I have to tell people, let me put the cotton on the inside for just
Mm-hmm.
breathability. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, when I just made it, people were doing the test and they were like, no, 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 we want the twill because now pass through the twill. But
Mm-hmm.
it's still the same with the cotton fabric. So when it comes to like the prints, um, I think I would do it, but I would have to make sure say it still
Yeah,
it still work and stuff like
learn
that.
more about.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Mr. Watson, I
Totally
don't
off
think we heard.
topic.
No, no, man, no problem, no problem, no problem. I think the viewers um want to get to know us as well. So these little ramblings are good. Mr. Watson,
Mm.
you never tell me about your week. You tell us you cut the lawn this morning and do some jump rope. But how about your week? How has your week been?
So, well, one of the good things about the week is that I had a 1 day break. We had a holiday the week, and that
Memorial.
shortened the week, and then maybe that's what gave me the energy to be able to go there this morning and skip. But I try to work with some youth, and I mean, I tell you, say, them. I think the COVID thing really set them back in terms of their learning. Their reading is off. I mean, 8-year-old, them age you can't read. There's one particular youth who I think him getting frustrated in bright.
Mm-hmm.
He know things, but he can't read. And I think
Okay.
him is 10 actually, and look like him have a little relationship with another girl. Him is black and she is Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And once two of them in the class, you can't get nothing done. Because they must stop ramp and go on. And they don't want me, come keep threatening that I'm going to separate them, but they don't want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, understand, the dynamics. I mean, I try to talk to she. She originally come from, her parents come from Honduras and Guatemala.
Nicaragua. Okay.
No, Guatemala.
Mm.
And her aspiration, she don't intend to go to college. She don't want to learn nothing. She want to work in a supermarket.
Well, I
So
mean, she's 10, so we wouldn't even put no bonus on that.
yeah,
We would put no value on that.
me understand that too, But I think because it's the nature of a lot of the people who come, the immigrants who come, them want to work and money kind of thing, and I think that's the attitude. So therefore, no, she is like when she here said she
Yeah,
have me, she said no, but she said it's not because she don't want to have me, it's because she don't want to do nothing. That's what she said to me. So and we have some kind of interaction with some of the youth them. Well, another class actually say them have a problem. Them have a problem with doing art when they come to my class. They don't want to do nothing. Them just don't want to do nothing because it's an after school thing. So me have to deal with
yeah,
them because my thing is to set the youth them straight and set them on a path, and me have to deal with all of that. Outside of
mm-hmm.
that, we do what we have to do with the limited resources. You might think that this is United and you have enough things to work with. Then you me list and it has, you're not about it. I'm not ask again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm go them and just go and work with them to work with. So we have those things. But them teacher me still make do and I make the
Mm-hmm.
week. Me no have to be complaining. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, no, say me have a task outside of teaching art. I mean, not even feel like that art me I teach. Sometimes I feel more like a therapist. It's more
Mm-hmm.
myself in
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
so me
yeah.
always have to talk them and encourage them. And sometimes if me lose myself and I might shout or whatever, me have to go back and say, no, that's not how you approach it and all. And next you with him boy can't behave, him can't stay still. And if you find out say them same have ADHD, which is one of the maladies of little black youth now. Everybody have ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
But him is something special in the sense that you can see say something wrong.
ADHD are when you can't maintain your focus, right? Like you
Yeah,
can't focus on one thing too
and you
long.
can't stay
Okay.
still, right?
Right,
So
right.
him is kind of cute, and he can't talk to him because you tell him sit this minute, him sit and him get up back. And him get kicked out of the program for one week. And
Mm-hmm.
him come online and him a beg for even sitting in the class and all of that. Apparently, sometime
Oh,
when
it's
him
online.
no, we are in person, but
Oh,
that particular day he was online talking to one of his classmates, and he was asking if he could sit in that kind of thing.
oh,
He's bright, I tell you, and he's one of the few who can read. But
So wait, you say there's another one who bright, but him can't read.
right, and this one
Okay.
can
So he's
read.
a good listener then. I guess he's a good listener.
Nah,
In learn
man, but
by.
no,
So
that
how him
one.
bright?
Him know
Yeah.
things I don't know. But him is a bright youth. Him good with
Okay.
heart and him can think. You can you see that about him. You know, him will think. The words,
Okay.
him just not the grass word quickly. So me might talk to him about syllables and that kind of thing, just to help out.
Mm-hmm.
But this other one, the one with the ADHD, him bright, him just can't behave, and him want come in the program and him have to take medication. When he not take the medication and him come to school, nobody can control him. Shout at the top of his voice and all. But when
There's
we will get
medication for ADHD.
yeah man,
Yeah man, the man with
Oh,
medication.
what we really getting at is
but he's so young.
right, but at home, him say mother not love him.
Oh,
He say, that the next time I find out a lot of them little youth they have no father. Father dead there. And him asked man, he said, let's just say he went to the supermarket and never came back.
him say
Let
what?
say let's just say he went to the supermarket and never came back.
Wow.
Him have a
No,
father.
it's not a laughing matter, but it just kind of the same old story. We hear it so often.
Yeah, man.
We
But
hear.
the thing is, you know, one of my thing is, 'cause you have to recently listen to some program is it's a kind of orchestration from long time, and people think we never talk about slavery, but everybody else can talk about them thing, but we never talk about slavery. But a part of the thing that seep into the our genetic makeup, you know, no feel no way, you know, and how the family, how our black family we separate and we not coordinate and we not cohesive, and we find that Christina, and I know you know, say the black women them try to push away the black men them, and because them kind of romanticize single parent kind of thing is what them know, and these are things that seep in a day to day living, in our DNA, which I think we have to
I
keep.
that I did part would I disagree with you. Mudo said DNA or genetics, but I just say it embedded in our psyche. If you say genetics,
Well,
you talk about biological makeup.
yes,
Just to be factually correct, genetics wouldn't be the thing.
but I don't know. I was listening to a scientist today, and him say it take 400 years for that to happen. I
Well, for
got
something
400.
your genetics adapt
Yeah,
to
mm,
something.
yeah. So yeah, so bottom line, my week the good still come get a chance to talk to some youth and change them thinking, and well, not change, but at least make them know that there's an
Let me give me
alternative.
a second. Just give me a second.
Mm, yeah.
I think that if you're not careful,
Mm,
Lord Jesus, you will spend the whole time
yeah.
um
And not to get no work done.
and then get no work done.
Yeah.
And
Like
one of the things that I don't think, especially when you're working with kids of certain areas,
mm,
you alone shouldn't work.
exactly.
You alone should not work. You should have somebody else that can really and I think even like having a good mix, like a male and a female,
Mm,
just to also show them like how the genders interact and positive ways, like learning without actually telling them how things must go, but
mm,
just out of interaction them see how things gel and mix. I don't know, it's I remember when I work with kids a lot.
mm,
And I stopped and then I stopped. But one of the ones that really did change me is the one I did by myself. And
Mhm.
before I went in, one of the all of the teachers had this thing where they might tell me, them body no, and then they look at little me, because this was years ago. They look at little me and they were like, she not gonna manage the class. She not gonna manage the class. And that's what they needed. That's what the little people them did need. A young person to run up and down with them, circle them, hear what they must say, gel with them, and just understand them. They could shout. I never met them not shout. Them can shout. Them can, but just as long as they were exploring the the techniques and using the brush, and you could see what they could do, that's fine with me. And the things that came out of the class were, I think they were really good. But you have to do a lot of like psychology work with them to get them to that point, and it's not easy. It's not
It's
easy.
not easy. It's not easy. But you know, me did it for years, and me have to know that every time I get into a situation, I have to make some assessment and determine my approach. One of the things too, because I said discipline, I just say you will spend the whole day discipline and not get no work done. Me understand that it is important, but me also understand that them talk loud. So, and I don't have a problem repeating, keep it soft, keep it low. And the whole business of this distracting your fellow students, we try to discourage them from doing it. But I understand, we encourage them to talk, because sometimes you, if you sit down and listen to them, sometimes them talk about the work and talk about what they might do, and then
Yeah.
resolve some of them
Yeah.
issues with the work. So me not stop them from talk. Me just don't want them talk across the room or talk across me, that kind of thing. But the disciplining become important. But at the end of the day, as I was saying to some of them yesterday, art is a visual thing too. And me have to have something to show. So me can have them, every day me go and they want to go outside or play. And me tell them, say, me not play person. I have to have something to show at the end of the day. So
Tony and laugh after me.
No. Because him say he's not a play person. He say, you know, and just to make it clear to the listeners, we're talking about teaching kids art in the context of, you know, kids who come from vulnerable communities and environments, dysfunctional environments. You know, I notice, because I have experience teaching too, as Mr. Watson knows. Um, you always find that some of the kids, after you're with them for a while, they kind of start look to you as a father figure, and trust me, sometimes that is, how can I put it? It's not a comfortable situation to be in, because there's,
But we do
yeah,
it too.
uh,
But we do it too. Big people do it
me
too.
well, all right, maybe from the perspective of being a male, right? I find it a bit complicated, because when the mother realizes that the child is drawn to you in that way, then the mother now start come and start make requests. You know, it's like they want you to, I don't want to say adopt, but for the lack of a better term,
me
it's
know
almost like they
what the
want you
thing,
to
man. Me know what the
adopt
thing.
the child, you understand, and take them under your wing, and them don't realize that you're just there to do a job, which is to just teach. You never come for, but me understand why that happens though. I
But
mean,
sometimes you can't afford it yourself too, you know. You have goodwill in your
yeah.
heart, but sometimes you can't really afford it.
Financially, you can't afford it. You
Yeah.
can't afford
Yeah.
it.
And
And then
it
come to
does
them
impact
one
on you
lunch money.
financially.
And emotionally too, because you're giving up a lot emotionally
Yeah,
to
yeah,
to
yeah,
to
yeah.
to make sure that you're yes. I mean, you should be sensitive, but like really overly sensitive to the needs of the child, when, as you say, you just got here to do a job. And I felt like whenever you leave a job, you always feel bad, because this is the end of it,
Yeah.
and you have as you say, adopted this child. But you have to move on too.
Yeah, you have to move on. And sometimes, because the hope is that you can help them develop a skill so that they can then take confidence in their ability to create, and that becomes the vehicle for working through their problems, or just being able to just um maintain themselves in the environment they're in for as long as
But
possible. Is
because
that
how
thing?
we work, Twani, we know the
Mm-hmm.
people work with. And we know,
Mm-hmm.
yes, them ask you things, but we know them need the emotional interaction too and connection, Because them not have it
Right.
otherwise, and even even if at home them have a mother and a father, the relationship at home is not something that them can emulate. So
Mm-hmm.
if them come out street, we used to do our thing on the street, Christina. And if them come out the street and them see and we respond to them a certain way, then you become responsible for the next ice cream. And it
Yeah,
could be
yeah,
any
yeah.
food
That's
because
true. That's true.
outside ice cream,
Oh.
it's also remember one lady one year was cussing me how come not even a book whenever get a
Yeah,
child,
yeah, yeah,
that kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And that is, I was given things, right? She never get none because she was barely in the program and in and out, but them look to you that sort of way. But it's also the nature of people who live certain places who figure say them entitled and them have to get one something, them have to get. So
Mm.
outside the real need, there are the people who take advantage of the situation too, So
Yeah.
you just have to be mindful and know to when and how to say no, as difficult as it might be, because they will take advantage of you or
All right.
disadvantage whichever.
So this is where I'm going to step in. I love the conversation. You said two things that I find very interesting. Maybe we can revisit it. The first thing was the ADHD. You said prevalent amongst youth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Black
And
youth.
just minorities in general in the US.
No, I think them diagnose and them and some people can use them as example, but I don't know that it is any less in a well, 'cause everybody a minority, because in white people, as opposed to here the term is black and brown people.
Mm.
But we find we interact more with black and brown people, and we hear more about black and brown people who is
Mm.
afflicted,
It's an
and
interesting statistics for know that's it's interesting for know, and I'm not going to do some deeper
I'm
research.
sure research is out there someplace.
Sorry, yeah, sorry for cutting. The second thing is that you said because you in reference to the little girl who you said came from Guatemala, right?
Yeah.
You said
No,
that
she actually born in
you
the US. Her parents, one come from Guatemala and one come from
Honduras.
Honduras. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. So she come from South America,
Yeah.
the
You,
peninsula,
you
right?
crack and you
South
freeze when
Peninsula.
you not move.
Yeah, you crack and freeze as well. So I'm not sure. Maybe I had a connection. But we could just continue. You said that maybe it's because her parents are migrants, why she don't have no aspirations beyond working in a supermarket. That very
Yeah.
interesting to me, that was very interesting to me.
Yeah, but me don't want to leave it just at her parents now. It's a group of people. I figure a lot of them feel
Right. A
like them
group of
come because they will do the menial jobs. Me
yeah.
not even call a job menial because cleaning the street is not menial, It's good work as far as me concerned, and people must be paid. But they will come and do those kind of jobs because I don't
Yeah.
care
But
what.
those are the less desirable jobs.
Yeah,
That's the better way.
maybe we need to shine it off and pretty it up a little bit, and no, so you can have more people aspiring to do that too. Me not have a problem, with people want to clean street, and I mean I talk clean street as opposed to working at supermarket because that's two different things. but she might feel that there is some prestige with working in a supermarket on the
Yeah,
counter.
maybe because of where she is too.
Right.
It's
As opposed
yeah.
to someone who dirty, who pick up the garbage that she helped to create too, if you understand what I say. So
Mm.
is how as a society we recraft, rename these things. Remember secretary, no secretary anymore, they are what? They have some different name now, some professional.
Administrator.
Yeah, something like that. So
Mm.
it's the same way. Maybe we need to pretty up the name instead of calling me garbage man. So we call it thing.
Waste disposal agent. All
Yeah.
right, all right. Before we continue, I just want to highlight the raise hand feature. Um, this is how we're going to do it.
Mm.
All right, from now on, I think it's a very good mechanism built into the software. So you click it, and I think more than one people can click, and it is in order. So I clicked first, Christina clicked second, Mr. Watson clicked third. And then we'll go in order in terms of how we talk on a given topic. All right.
Yeah.
Um, of course, I
Um,
will start off by throwing out the question or the issue, and I will choose somebody, and then that person's kick way off. And then after that, we just raise your hands if we have something to say. All right. And the person who is speaking can either choose to stop talking and allow the person to give their 2 cents, or continue speaking, and then when they when they're done, then the other person can chime in. All right.
mm.
All right. So Tina, you weren't here last week. We started off last week with a question. This is a question I encountered while filling out an application form for something, right? And I thought that it would be interesting to get everybody's opinion on the question and thoughts. So the question is, what do you think Jamaica's art ecosystem needs the most at this moment?
Collaboration
Collaborate.
and collaboration. I would say that's one.
Mm-hmm.
Collaboration can be in many. This is a collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
And two, um,
Your video
I
completely froze, by
it's
the way.
completely frozen
Yeah.
Yeah.
with my hands by my mouth.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know why it will move. I actually came out and I don't know why it will move.
Plug it out and
You
plug it
mind if
in.
I just continue then?
Yeah, yeah, man. Continue.
Plug it out.
Yeah,
Oh,
the USB,
uh,
right?
mm, mm-mm.
Oh, it's
This
a
is my
built-in.
regular camera.
Oh, okay.
Um, so I think that, and I also think for me it's also like capital. um, but I think for sure it's collaboration
All right,
and
expound
like
on collaboration.
unifying. Um, I think that if people aren't so much only creating in their different spaces, and there's some moments of meeting point of um
Mm-hmm.
um
Mine.
dialogue or working
Ideas.
together,
Mm-hmm.
ideas, um um collaboration, like an association or um exhibiting together,
Mm-hmm.
um challenging ideas together. I
I think
think
exhibiting together happen all the time.
um you can only say that because you're in a collaborative space, right? But for like on a general, like it's just known that hey, you should just collaborate.
You mean like with painting?
Just on general, like painting, ideas, um, standing together and challenging ideas, um, finding space together, um, um,
It sounds like there are two ideas we are through, Christina. You're saying the space is a collaborative space.
the space. No, I'm
Yeah.
saying that yes, you asked me what I think the ecosystem needs.
No,
So
I'm just saying a while ago you said that I can. Oh, all right, you're unfrozen. A while ago you said that I can set up because I'm in a collaborative space. What do you mean by that?
because I think you like with you and um Xavier and um Kalfani and Cheddar, there is I think there's this way in which you guys collaborate and
Really?
exhibit.
But
I
I've
think
never
there's the
exhibited.
last exhibition
There
was
was only one time we ever exhibit together. One.
all right. Well, there is one. I
I
don't,
would I would not collaborate ideas.
but there is some level of collaboration. There
Similar
is some
thinking.
level of collaboration.
Yeah, similar
I'm
thinking,
saying that
similar idea.
that's not a wide Mr. Watson is up still, but I don't think I think people are more interested in working on their own and doing stuff on their own. I think maybe before us, I want to say that Mr. Watson era there was more collaboration and working together. But I think for our generation right now, there is people do it in pockets, and if you're not in a pocket, then I don't think there's collaboration in a sense. Um, and yeah, that's what I think the ecosystem needs: collaboration and working together, and yeah, and not only just artists, like even like collaboration with people who write, um people who are not in the arts, people who are doing agriculture, people who are doing, just collaboration on a whole.
Mhm.
That's what I think the ecosystem needs. And then second to that is like capital, because obviously, if there's collaboration, there will need to be some form of money to get things going to a certain level. Um, yeah, I totally forgot that you had asked that question, but I think collaboration is one of the things for me.
All right. Mr. Watson.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she had eventually gotten to it because I was going to ask the question, collaborate if the ecosystem only include the artists, but eventually you did. Um, also, we also spoke about the rate of how people drop out the art ecosystem after them leave art school, for instance. And I also spoke about my experience after leaving school, and you talk about collaboration, and we talk about the groups and pockets of things that happen, which is how I survived. But it was no different. There's no art organization that flourished in Jamaica, as far as I know. That we still here talk about, let's say, the Great Guild or something like that, but it doesn't flourish. It is not particularly active as far as I know. So I don't know if it is ever possible that we're going to have that kind of association in terms of collaboration. Though it's very possible that we can have dialogue, and so we can investigate what is happening within, and if there's any resolution or or thing that can come out of that kind of collaboration. There was another thing I was going to say, and it slipped me, but I think it had to do too with how people just leave art and go somewhere else and do other things, and then the question is why in the in the first place. And let me go back. 22,
Mhm.
and we spoke about that last week. His recently he was saying me done with it, kind of thing. But it's sounding now like him rethinking, um, and my encouragement would have been see the course throughout history. Nobody, well, very few people would have made it as an artist without doing some other things on the side. So you have to do your art, but you have to eat and you have to do things that make you eat. So the ecosystem also can create within it some of those side jobs, if you want to call it, if you want to call it that, or distraction, if you want to call it that, but something that would certainly allow you to afford to continue doing what you're trained to do. I love to do.
Um, what? All right. So my answer, Christina, from last week was that I think we need programs, uh, some kind of support system, which would probably most obviously come in the form of programs geared towards students leaving the college, right? Because I find that that period where you leave Edna for the first time and you step out into the world, I think that's the most vulnerable period because a lot of people fall off the map and they never come back, they never return. You don't hear nothing of them again. And I think if there was some kind of transitional program for newly grads coming straight out of school, I think it would actually encourage them to 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 stick around and stay in the ecosystem and create because I think people nowadays need security. They need some kind of tangible way of ensuring that what they're doing makes sense and is valued and has value. Um, for me, that was the case. I wasn't sure if what I was doing had value, because it would be tragic if I spent years creating only to be completely erased from the annals of history. Nobody would remember who named Tawan. That would have been the worst possible outcome. Um, and that was the thought. Yeah, that would be. I mean, I think anybody in the creative field wants their work to have some value historically. Um, I think so, at least. I don't know if Mr. Watson, I don't know if you guys have a different thing, but I want to be remembered favorably by history. Um, I want what I create to have value, whether social or otherwise, have value to someone or a group of people. And I just wasn't sure at the time. Now I'm a bit more certain that there is value. I don't know how much, and I guess time will tell. But yeah, I do have a bit more enthusiasm about it. But my answer, Christina, was that we need support systems targeted directly at newly grads. I think that's a very critical point in the development of an artist or a creator. I think you're most vulnerable at that point. All right, I'll lower my hand.
Yeah, that's true. Christina, your hand was up, right?
Yeah,
All right, but yeah,
and I get what you're saying about the programs, but I think if we had this if we had a nurturing, collaborating space where
Mm-hmm.
it's just natural to collaborate,
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't even need these programs
Yeah.
because if if it all right, we when we were in school, um graduates used to come in, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
often. looking at the new fresh face going to come out at Edna Manley, right? And I think that if we had it was more so, the discussion was more so that you can't practice, you can't exhibit before you leave school, rather than how can you collaborate with the graduates, or within your own thing. I think if we fostered that, then the programs would come naturally. You understand? Because I think we do have programs and people started programs, but do people matriculate, or is it that it's too little for too much students graduating? But I think if we had those collaborative efforts, and I think what is more so happening is that the graduates are looking on what we're gonna do next, like how we're gonna survive the after moment, rather than how can they facilitate, let's collaborate with this youth, or let's collaborate with that person. You understand what I'm saying? And when I started my thing, I was like looking at Anna K, and I said, yeah, I'd love to collaborate with them, and I reached out to them, but somehow it didn't really pan out. But if we had that and not so much scared of what it would be, because I get rubbed wrong through wanting to collaborate, and then you think them just take your whole thing. But if we had the safe space to do good collaboration, I think it could be the into programs and into sustainable ways of thinking of the ecosystem for me. I had another thing about internship program. Maybe that's what the school needs to develop. Like, even though I know that graduates are figuring it out themselves, but maybe if the school have like a year plus program, just like UTech, where there's an internship led thing, the spaces at the gallery at Edna, maybe they should say, hey, one of the graduates have that space, and you work with a top, somebody that had promise or whatever in the space of Edna. Since space is an issue for graduates themselves, maybe having a space for that collaborative effort and thing. But I understand what you're saying, and I think that's it for me with that.
If I may, there's a program that I mentioned last week, where it was Life of Jamaica then, before it became Sagicor. They had a program where they would select one or two graduates each year, and they provide them with a stipend. They provide them with material, place to work, and a place to exhibit after a year. That was a good program, because it set up that facilitation for the young artists, but it's something that was discontinued. And I myself had written what we call some big brother letter, where I'd asked the businesses to continue that kind of support to young artists, because we're saying that we can't say it too often. The artist does need that kind of support, as as you leave art school, as you progress into whatever else. Certainly, if you want to continue making art, you have to be around art. It was why I continued, because there was a group of us, we just paint. We paint from each other's palette, kind of thing, and because there was that kind of encouragement. Art is not only that we're going at the art school and we come out being able to make things, but we can also become more aware, and we ourselves can create some of those programs too that would help to direct the young artists and other artists who people who even be in there, because artists to have them emotional things, and need a shoulder sometimes too, but we don't have it within, it will be considered weak and all, and we don't have it within our our art ecosystem. But what we have to do, we have to, some of these things that we want and we think we need as artists, we have to help to create it ourselves. We know the history of artists collaborating, and we know it is not good nowhere in the world. You know, when artists run certain things.
Give me an example.
Well, the Artists and Craftsman Guilds,
Mhm.
and there has been maybe two or three other art association in Jamaica, since we are from Jamaica. We know that since we know that, for instance, international, there are all these other organizations that do things and offer grants and that kind of thing. But a lot of them are not necessarily run by artists. Maybe art people who make art initially and then you know transform themselves into somebody else, and form these organizations and become part of these organizations. We look at, for instance, the I don't know if you ever hear about the artist triangle. I don't know how the triangle came about, but it was actually a group of artists, and each year they have they have workshops. They have workshops all over the world, and you can. Oh, I'm trying to remember the name, but it's a triangle. I was a part of it. We had it in Jamaica one time. We called it Zymaka Workshop. Twice we had it. Christina probably never born it, but we had it in Crystal Springs in Portland. And initially, they would give you materials for 2 weeks. You work. It's an intense program. You work for 2 weeks, and that 2 weeks you're going to be creating work. You're going to have days when you have critics and other people are going to be coming in, and people are going to be talking. You have forums, that kind of thing. At the end, you have an exhibition. So ours was the Zymaka workshop. You had, and I'd gone to one in Botswana as well. And outside of that, I did a workshop in Kenya. So what I'm saying, there are these things that exist. The triangle workshop, I don't know what is happening with it now, but it doesn't function the same way. You don't get free materials and all that, because money run out, and once money not in the picture, then you find that people start thinking differently. But they still exist. But as a country, as a nation, there's something we have to do for ourselves. As we are here now as three artists who come out of Jamaica, and we are aware of the things that happen within the art space in Jamaica, and we are aware that there are things that need to be done that is not being done. And because we are aware, we probably should make some of it happen. And all of it don't have to do with money. All of it don't have to do with money. It just have to do with the will. And people wanting these things to happen. And we start with the little youth them, and we train them. And I might say, well, me not train them to become artists. I just want them to be aware, right? Because when them aware, them can buy the work when them. But at the same time, is where we are going to start by making that, inculcating that awareness, and eventually find that things, other organizations, can come out of being aware that way. So the ecosystem need people who are aware, not necessarily having to be, practitioners.
All right. Well, I mean, a lot of things were said. Um, yeah, Mr. Watson, I kind of think of you as the optimist. Um, you have a very, you have a certain kind of outlook, and I mean, I appreciate it and I agree. I mean,
Everything
it
possible.
doesn't always have to be about money. But the problem is it has never been about money. Money has never, in other words, I think the problem artists in Jamaica are facing is not so much, it's not so much exposure. Yeah, there's a space problem. I mean, most artists don't have a studio. We don't have a space to work, and of course, we know that limit the creative process. But I can't remember no point in time where I have been practicing where there has been a sustainable support system of income. And I don't see how we can maintain ourselves without that. Yeah, it's of course some kind of program created by artists, geared toward artists, is brilliant. But if everybody hungry, how that has to happen?
The sacrifice that we make.
No, but that's the thing. We already a sacrifice. We're create in a void right now because
Everybody,
Jamaican art and Caribbean art in general undervalued and underappreciated. So we already make a lot of sacrifices because if you see some of the prices where art are sell for, you can't even compare. And I think there are a lot of Jamaican artists and Caribbean artists who are make more compelling work than what we are seeing at the West. You understand? And to some extent even at the East because it coming like
Mm.
if you look on and I won't say let me fix that up. Let me really attack China when we say the East because most Eastern countries have a very high intellect intellectual ceiling when it comes on to making art. Right? China are really the only one who kind of see adopt this purely aestheticization of elements and things. Um, but the what may I say is that our art is already undervalued and underappreciated. We're already a work from behind, right? So we're underserved. So to me, it kind of unthinkable how a group of underserved artists can come together and make something. Unless everybody willing to make that big sacrifice. I don't know if everybody is willing to do that. We need people with serious money and serious intent to enter the space and create these
to
support
do what?
systems.
To do what though?
Well, here's the thing. Right now, right, most buyers of Jamaican art are people abroad, right? I think one of the biggest problem is that the people who in the country will have money, them not educated in how the art market can work. You understand? Them in other words, them not see the value in it. You understand? The majority of them, I'm not gonna say all of them. Of course, there are some patrons of the art in Jamaica. Them not see the value of it. Most of the buyers are abroad, right? And I think from the outset, that kind of put us at a disadvantage because if we're always looking towards the foreign market, then inherently we at a disadvantage. We need to cultivate that here in Jamaica. I think that's the only way it will be sustainable for creators here. Because the truth is that and everybody are able to appeal to a foreign market. There are some artists who what they might do or what they're creating really and truly only have relevance here. So we need something here to sustain us. We can't just depend entirely on the foreign market. So the people who have money and in the country, they need to get educated. You know, somebody need to take them and say, listen, let's show you guys how this thing can work for you.
Is that another artist?
It can be somebody who just understand how the market works. You don't have to be another artist.
Right, me understand and me agree with you totally. It's something that has been, talked about for some time. How do you educate the potential patrons and the ones who are actually there? And unless we are going to put ourselves in a particular place where we are going to be the ones to get people together and say, come here what we have to say. I did cite last week also what happened in the 80s, because in the 80s, people were spending money on art. And it was in the 80s too that we had like program like the Life of Jamaica program happening. I benefited, I probably was one of the lucky one. We come upon a company who decided to fund me at the time, and is more responsible for the fact that we are here talking now than possibly anything else. But we need more of that. It is not happening. The Virgin who was there, and he has been trying to get other people, because one of the things he's been trying to do is to get art as to be seen as a stock option too. So it is, included in the stock market and that kind of thing. It is not happening, and I don't know that at this point in still continue with that, but it would be a good thing. And that will go against some of the thing we think in terms of buying art and all that. But as I say, if we in it, we in it. If we gonna get these people together, we have to be selective in terms of who we're going to get together, potential patrons together. We have to educate them, the people. Having gathered them, we have to educate them what is it that they're going to be doing, because people not going to just take their money and come give it away like that. We have to create the value to on it. We have to create the value so that them can see it, and then them can get involved. Um, I don't know that we can compete with the foreign market. Remember, 1,000 US is 100 plus thousand Jamaican, and even the psychology of the sounding of the number would deter people from wanting to spend 100 plus thousand for a piece of work, as opposed to a $1,000, because a dollar can be a dollar wherever. So again, what kind of value we're looking at? Is it we talk about the comparison with the foreign market, but can we compete? Should we compare? I don't know that we should or shouldn't. We may not even discuss that now. All I know is that yes, we have to create that value for ourselves, so that other people can see it. China, for instance, because people, China, I suppose, out of competing with the West, and therefore they think that they, where money is concerned, they have to be able to claim the same kind of um money for their creations as the West does. And so we find that they they their prices are equivalent. But what they have done is said, this is how we value our thing. So if you want it, you have to buy it on our terms, which might be the same approach that we have to take. They might say go to hell, or they might, decide that we're doing something noble and decide to join. But how do we create that value for ourselves?
Yeah, I totally agree with the value proposition, and how we think about value. And that's why I was saying, like, if we, I know I'm sounding like scratch record, but if we really start to make the initiative to collaborate and show that there's value to stand, there's also value in unity, like standing together with somebody else and supporting one another, and outside of the space, like there's value in the artists, in like agriculture. So I mean, there's a lot of ways of thinking about value, um and breaking it out. You said something about, like, competing, not competing, but thinking about it in adjacent with, like, an ecosystem abroad. And I think we in really creating value, we have to step away from looking there. What I want to say also about value is if we take, and I know that this may not be the best example, but if we start to look at how like young musicians are, for example, Indignation. I don't know if you guys know Indignation. It's, you know, Protege. Just not if you know Protege. Protege has started a thing for his own called the Indignation, and so out of that, younger artists have gone under that that
Is a record label?
I think it's just a group that supports in whatever way. So
Call it a
if it's
banner.
in that, I guess so. So but what I found interesting is how also like visual artists mobilize with the Indignation band. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, a lot of the artists them not start out with money, but with the support of these people who are creating backgrounds for them and creating all these and this is just an example of collaboration, how it works. For me, they add a lot of value to the artists by supporting them in this collaborative way, right? And so now they begin to travel to other places and also outside of the US and start to collaborate now with other people within that space. And so when you think of value in that way, I see it coming out in different ways that are supporting that person, but also 50 other person within it. This is why I use that example. If we had like collaboration with writers and collaboration with as you say, other companies, but I think less about companies, but I think if we had the initiative to really just start these things, um, of which I don't think we have. I think a lot of, and I'm gonna say it, a lot of people who are at Edna, sometimes they don't have like that grassroots initiative to say, yo, we're gonna do this and we're gonna be consistent with it. And I think that is why we're not seeing the value of collaboration and of our own work. I don't necessarily think we need to sensitize anybody about the arts. I think if we're doing that, it's like we working backwards to me. Like if we have to get these rich people to say, okay, this is what art. I just think it's, to me, it kind of seems backwards. Like this thing have to, the ecosystem have to work with them, yes, but I don't know if it's through the way that we have to educate them and say this is what art is and this is what the younger people are doing. I think if we are taking that approach, like collaboration and initiative, it will just happen organically in a way that may be more valuable to the ecosystem to me. I hope I'm making sense, but that's it for me and that.
Yeah.
All right. Um so all right. So when I talk about value, I'm not talking about cultural value, intrinsic value, whether it's a relevant issue that is being investigated, excavated. That's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about when the work is priced, right? It is priced at a lower margin because it is Jamaican art. Now, Mr. Watson said something very interesting. where he was making a comparison with the dollar. 1,000 US is like 140 odd thousand Jamaican dollars. And would people be willing to pay that price? Why not? Listen, business people in Jamaica and money people in Jamaica, when them invest at the same margins as anybody else on the international stage. If them invest in a gold, if them a buy oil, is the same price them pay as anybody else anywhere in the world. So why not for art?
And I mean, I say no, I mean, I say why, I mean,
No,
I say
no, I'm not say you are said that, but it's an issue. It's something when we hear all the time. It's like people feel as if because people out here don't understand, we have to tread lightly with how we price it. And I'm not saying there you can be smart about it if you're new to the space. Of course, you start at a lower margin, and based on how active you are and all right, the
So
way
it's
the
only
art.
the rich man going to buy the work?
But isn't that how it always has been?
No. As Mr. Watson said in the 80s, there were people just generally buying work. It
But
wasn't
where are
necessarily.
they now?
Uh,
Them
you
people
can't
can't
correct me,
maintain.
Mr. Watson, but that's what you were saying, right? It was just
people,
people generally
yeah,
buying
people
work.
buying, but
Uh,
The
yeah,
average person, listen. There are two ways. Look, the general audience, the average person. Of course, if they want to buy the work, them can buy it. The
but
fact is that most of the
your
time.
target, if you were supposed to unfold your business, your target only is the rich man. That's all they talk
No,
about, the
no,
rich
no, no,
man.
man. No. It's just that me know say the average person probably would not be able to buy. Why would they? I mean, if you are live day to day, if you are work a 9 to 5, why would you go and buy a piece of art for $300,000?
because it's a value.
Right, but
Right.
if you don't understand, if if you don't understand how the market works, because you have to insure it, right? There's a fee we have to pay. There are a lot
But
of things
why
that come with
but
buying
why
art.
but why wouldn't the average man want to? It's just like right now, well, before COVID, there were a lot of average men buying stocks
Mm.
because there
It's
is
cheaper and
value.
available. It's cheaper and available, Christy. It's cheaper and it's more available. It's more accessible. It's more I'm not saying I have a
Well,
problem. Listen to
you
me, I say.
hear what you said, though. You
It's more
hear what you said,
accessible.
though.
Stock more accessible. You can buy a stock
But
for $1.
but
There's
why
no
would
art.
so why would you then only target the rich man?
What
If
with
you
art?
just said that, if you just said
Art?
that a while ago, that I just want you to realize what you say. You say a while ago that it's more accessible, and so, which I don't know if it's necessarily as accessible. I just think people started understanding, especially with the lady Kalila Reynolds, and I guess this now goes back to me saying against what I was saying, like we don't need the sensitization, but when Kalila started breaking down the stock market, Kalila Reynolds, you know who that is? The girl was taking stocks with Kalila Reynolds?
Mm-hmm.
No?
Yeah,
All
you
right.
know.
Well, there's this lady who she left nationwide and started her own thing to sensitize people on what it means to buy stocks and what it means to invest and how that can make you, the average man, have a little more in your reserve fund. And 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 I think there's value in looking at that and saying, the average it is so it boosts the economy when the average man start buy stocks. If you look at how the stock market was really going up and down and look vibrant, like things are going for Jamaica, when the average man start buying it, when the average man when it moves from the wealthy man buying stocks to everybody can buy this thing, it make the stock market jump up and down and look vibrant. because people now have the jargon to really understand what it means for a stock to have value. And I think we have to take a page out of that and not so much lament on the rich man buying the work and because he can know what 1,000 and afford 1,000 versus 100,000, I think we have to move away from that.
All right, listen. Everything I said fine and dandy, but this is how the art world has been working since
Well, it needs to stop.
inception. Hold on, yeah, well, that me agree with you. Maybe we need to change the model, but that what I'm saying is that the baseline value of art has always been higher than stock, and that is how the industry has always been. No, I'm not saying that it good. That's not what I'm saying, and I'm not saying that this is how it should stay. I'm talking about right now, right? Right now, at this current moment, the average 9 to 5 hardworking individual would probably need that person would probably have to have an unbelievable amount of love for art to go out there and buy a piece of work, like a serious piece of work for big money. It just not gonna happen, right? Their way of engagement is coming to the exhibitions, them take pictures of it, them look on it, and them write. Say, yeah, I was at this exhibit at this space, and I was looking at Tuani Sinclair's work or Mr. Stanford's work, and it really touched me, and I have to take a picture beside it, and whatever. Sometimes that's all they want, They don't really want to own it. So we're talking about, look, we cannot ignore the business side of art. It's an investment. Ultimately, listen, it is an investment. It is an investment. And it's a kind of investment. It's one of those, there's a word for it. A certain type of commodity. And that is what art is, right? The wealthy and the rich, they are the ones who feed the market. And that is just the truth, Khristina. And that not going to change overnight. I may agree with you. Maybe it needs to change, but it not going to change overnight.
But that is only continually perpetuating the model that we don't like. The model that we don't like. So it's like,
I mean, me don't necessarily have a problem with it. Well, I don't necessarily have a problem with the model.
This is gonna really solve it.
No, I don't have a problem with the model. Let me put that out there as well. I'm not saying the model is good or bad, but I don't necessarily have a problem with the model because
the model itself is the one that is putting the benchmark for Jamaican art. As you say, the model don't work. And so now
I don't think it's the model that is the problem for Jamaica. There are a lot of, a lot of things are being said and a lot of things I get mixed up. But I'm not saying that the model is the problem. I'm saying the problem is, right?
Rich people.
There are people here in Jamaica who don't understand. Them have the money and the capacity to support the arts.
And they must buy.
And they don't because they don't understand how to do it. Or maybe they don't want to. Maybe they don't want to. But I think that we need to
I don't think sensitizing them is going to make a difference.
We need to cultivate.
Some of the most arrogant people. Anyway, Mr. Watson.
It could make a difference sensitizing them. Me did have real problem getting up on me a paint dog and I talk about people who are not represented. But you see the people them who me a paint about, them couldn't buy the work when me was buying. See me?
Mm-hmm.
And so the rich man have to buy it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But me have a problem with the model too.
Yeah.
In the sense that me think it should be open. Everybody should be able to afford it.
It is open. It's just that some people can't afford it.
Right. And it is supposed to go, as you say, from time immemorial. That's how it has been working. And the time will change now because some of them, I wanted to say, some of them really would like to own it, Them
Mm-hmm.
them have the wall space because
Mm-hmm.
already them live in our
Not an
tiny,
ounce of wall space.
right. Them not have the wall space and them not have the money, but them still would
Them
like
have
to
the
buy it.
love. Them have the love.
How can we make it available?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I say we as just the artists. How can the country make it available that every man
Mm-hmm.
can partake of what is happening,
And it
within the
could
art?
just be a simple thing. It could just be a
Art
simple thing
prints.
of you
Art
own
prints.
it,
Some people do
but
it
it
already.
sits. Sorry,
Sorry
I'm
for cut
breaking
you,
the
Khristina.
rules.
No,
I'm
no, no.
breaking the rules.
You never raise your hand, but continue, continue.
Yeah, I was saying that Mr. Watson, it could just simply be that they own the work and it sits there, but they don't carry it home per se, but they own the work. Or they own a piece of the work.
There's the National
How,
Gallery. There's the National Gallery.
how would that work though?
How
I mean,
often do they
you
go to
buy
the
a
National Gallery?
you buy a stake in the work. Is that what you're saying? Like you
Yeah, you
can buy
buy
a
you
stake
buy
in the work?
you buy an NFT of it. And
Yeah, but only
yeah,
one NFT can exist.
no,
So
I was just joking. I was just joking. But
no, but what you
you
say
buy a
sound interesting
percentage of
still.
it. You
Yes,
buy a
yeah.
percentage of it,
Yeah.
and you own a percentage of it, and maybe the other percentage is owned
That's
by,
interesting. That's very
or
interesting.
it sits in a gallery. It sits in a gallery on rotation, and then you can go you own a percentage of it, or you own a whatever of it, or